All right, welcome everyone. Today we're not just scratching the surface, we're going to go way beyond the basics to uncover the really deep scientific distinctions between two of our planet's most successful predators. We're going to peel back the layers on these evolutionary marvels.
Okay, before we really jump in, just a quick heads up. This is our advanced explainer. We're going to assume you're already familiar with the basics. Maybe you saw our last video on this. That way we can get right into the complex biology that truly separates these incredible animals.
So what's on the docket? First, we'll cover the stuff you can see, the obvious physical clues. Then we'll really get under the hood and look at their anatomy, their unique physiology, their surprisingly complex family tree, and finally, their absolutely critical role in the environment.
All right, first up, beyond the obvious snout. Let's start with the classic giveaways, the things you probably already know. But here's the twist. These are really just symptoms of much, much deeper biological differences.
So you've probably heard these before, right? The alligator's got that big, wide, U-shaped snout, and when its mouth is shut, you can't see its bottom teeth. The crocodile, on the other hand, has that classic V shape, and you can always see that famous toothy grin, with that big fourth tooth on the bottom sticking out. No mistaking that.
But here's the big question. Why? Why are they so different? It's not just about what we see on the outside. The real story lies in the evolutionary journey and the biology that led to these different designs, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
Okay, time to look under the hood. Let's get into their internal systems and see how these creatures are just these incredible, perfectly engineered predators honed over millions of years.
You know that iconic armored back they have? Well, it's not just a shield. Those bony plates, they're called osteoderms, and they're like a built-in calcium battery. This is super important because it helps them deal with lactic acid when they're fighting or swimming hard, and it's also where females get the calcium to make strong eggshells. Pretty cool, right?
And speaking of power, wow, just look at this. An alligator's bite is, it's massive, around 2,500 psi. But a big saltwater crocodile, it can more than double that, hitting an absolutely mind-blowing 5,000 psi. That's easily one of the most powerful bites in the entire animal kingdom.
So the big takeaway here is you've got to stop thinking of these animals as primitive dinosaurs. They are anything but. They have some seriously advanced biological hardware. A 4-chambered heart? That's something they share with us mammals and birds, and it's way more efficient than what most other reptiles have. Throw in things like vertical pupils for night hunting, a special flap in their throat so they don't drown while eating underwater, and skin sensors that feel pressure changes. You're looking at a hyper-advanced predator.
All right, next up is a really big one. This next adaptation basically decides where you'll find them on the planet. It's their saltwater secret, and it's one of the most important things separating them.
So why is it that you can find crocodiles way out in the ocean, but you'll almost never see an alligator there? This simple question gets to the heart of one of the biggest physiological differences between them. And the answer is all about a tiny but brilliant piece of biological tech that crocodiles have and alligators just don't. We're talking about lingual salt glands. Think of them as tiny little desalination plants right there on the croc's tongue.
And the way it works is just so elegant. The crocodile takes in salt water, its blood carries the extra salt to these glands, and the glands pump it right out. This lets them hang out in the ocean, hunt there, even travel across it, all without getting dehydrated. It's a total game changer that gave them a passport to the entire planet.
Okay, so with all that in mind, let's zoom out a bit and look at their family tree. Because saying alligator and crocodile is kind of like just saying cat and dog when there's a whole world of felines and canines out there. It's the tip of the iceberg.
We focus on these two, but they're part of a much bigger family, the order Crocodilia. And today, there are 23 different species alive in that order. 23! From the giants we all know down to tiny dwarf caimans. And here's how that family breaks down. You have the big order, Crocodilia, which splits into a few families. One is Alligatoridae. That's where you find your true alligators and their closest cousins, the caimans. The other big family is Crocodilidae, and that's home to all the true crocodiles, like the famous Nile crocodile and the saltwater crocodile.
So when you look at it this way, you see the big split in this ancient family comes down to one thing: salt. The Alligatoridae family, they're pretty much stuck in fresh water. But the Crocodilidae, they use those amazing salt glands to go global.
Okay, for our last section, let's talk about why these animals are so much more than just predators. They are true architects of their ecosystems, and their survival is critical for the health of the entire environment. They're not just taking, they're actively shaping it. And this isn't just some abstract idea. We have real-world proof of how vital they are. Take the Nile crocodile. It keeps the population of a certain type of catfish in check. If you were to remove the crocodiles, the catfish numbers would just explode, and they'd wipe out tons of other fish species. That would cause a devastating ripple effect all the way up the food chain.
So you see, they're not just taking, they're giving back. They're what we call ecological architects. Here in the Americas, alligators dig these gator holes, which, during a drought, become the only source of water for countless other animals. They're also the cleanup crew, scavenging and recycling nutrients. They truly are cornerstone species, maintaining the balance of their entire world.
Whew, okay, that was a ton of information, a really deep dive into the science. So let's boil it all down. What are the 5 most important things you should walk away with after this explainer?
Okay, here are the key takeaways. First, those visual differences we talked about, they're just symptoms of much deeper biology. Second, these are not primitive leftovers, they are highly advanced reptiles. Third, those lingual salt glands, that's the secret sauce for the crocodile's world tour. Fourth, the family tree is way bigger and more complex than you probably thought. And finally, and maybe most importantly, they are essential keystone species, absolutely vital to the health of their ecosystems.
And that really leaves us with one final big question. These animals survived the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. They've weathered millions of years of change, but now they face a world with rapid climate change and vanishing habitats. So, how will these ultimate survivors handle the challenges that we've created for them?
Thank you for joining this deep dive from The Explainer.